Well, picking up litter on the lawn. Had a windy day yesterday, boy. And you ask, how windy was it? You know it's windy when you find people's roofing shingles in your yard. It's kind of rocking my shoe. Well, I just saw something, and it happened too fast for me to get a video. I got a rock in my shoe. I saw Mrs. CW's old Acura. And it was an Acura, what? Forget the model now. It's the big Honda Accord. I guess it's got an extended wheelbase. Oh yeah, stuff in the rose bushes. Yep, I was just sitting at the corner store chatting with a friend of mine. I look up and I see a gold Acura with grease oozing out of every single joint. And I knew it was Mrs. CW's because we had it grease rust proof before I started doing the fluid film. And I would have chased the guy or made a video, but the light turned green and he frickin' flew down the street with an exhaust leak, foot to the floor, beating the crap out of that Acura that I bought from an ad on eBay. Probably, let me think about this. I drove down to get it, and I bought this San Francisco Suburban in October 2007, so it had to have been 2006 that I went to get it, probably, in Mr. Blue, the two-tone blue Suburban that's now at my friend's house in Indiana. And I drove down there to buy this Acura. What model was it? I can't think of what model it was. I drove down to get it. I bought it for the wheels for her. I gotta collect my thoughts. Mom, back. I bought it for the wheels for her Honda Accord. She had 3 bent wheels on that Accord from before her. So I was looking on eBay and I was calling up places that had wheels for sale, mag wheels, aluminum alloy wheels. And they wanted $100 a wheel, $75 plus shipping. What are you? Oh, wonderful. Crunch. They're knucking flat. $75 for one wheel at junkyards, eBay places. Forget that. So I was looking, and one day up pops this Acura sedan, and it's got the 4 wheels and new tires or newer tires, and it says doesn't run. And I called up the guy, and he wanted $800 for it, and it wasn't running. So I bid, and I got the thing for $127.50. So this is probably 2006. So we drove to Philadelphia to this huge Acura dealer. Huge on both sides of the street. And there's the car. Little rust in the back around the quarter panels. 120,000 miles. It was a 90 or 91. 120,000 miles, 15 years old, gold paint, clean interior. Guy says it won't start, motor's blown. So I gotta go in the building and oil the lock. He says the motor's blown, it wouldn't start, sunroof leaks, blah 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 blah. Oops, cigarette butts. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna hook a tow bar up to it, but I had to move the car, and the dealership was closing. It was a Friday afternoon probably that I got there to Philadelphia. It's a good 10-hour drive probably. So before I hook the tow bar up, I said, well, let's see if this thing starts. So I turned the key, battery's stone dead. So I put the booster cables on it, and I crank her up. And she cranks and she sputters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cylinders chime in. The thing's friggin' running. Only had 120,000 miles, 200,000 kilometers. Anyways, thing's running. I take it for a little drive in the parking lot, and it's going up and down the parking lot. Yippee! Had a burned out headlight, and I'm telling you the story. Oh boy, connections to my stories never ends. The alternator on the Suburban went out, stopped charging. So I went across the street to the auto parts store, bought an alternator, put the alternator in the Suburban, hooked up the tow bar, and towed this thing home with the engine running the whole way. Because I think Spike Punk told me that on the front wheel drives, you can't let it not run because it doesn't get any oil pumped around the transmission. Anyways, big deal. Ran the engine the whole way back, 10-hour drive. Got home, and it had 2 brand new tires in the front and really good tires in the back. And I wanted to put 4 snow tires on. I'm looking for my special key. I gotta service one of the locks. Beep. Smoke detector is beeping. Anyhow, I took off the tires off the Acura and I put them for sale. And a guy called me up and came to look at the tires, and guess who it was? Frootloops. Isn't that funny? I just realized the connection right now. Yeah, it was Frootloops. He came to look at the tires and he bought them, and I asked him what kind of work he did, and the rest, as they say, is history. Changed my tone, didn't it? Yep, well, that was Frootloops. I have a service key to remove the core. I'm going to think of where it is. So I'm going to turn the camera off because it's upsetting me to think about Frootloops. Yep, and there was the Acura. And too bad you didn't see it. Just a gold Acura. The Integra is the small model on the Civic. This is the bigger model. Legend! Acura Legend. Just a plain velour interior, no leather, automatic. Had a little tranny problem. I cleaned the solenoids, it shifted a bit better, but it used to slip a little bit. Sludged up, varnished, who knows. Yeah, so the Acura just drove by. A couple touch-up spots on it. Looking pretty good. I sold that thing in 2000. I got it in 2006, sold it in 2000. Sold it 3 years ago, I suppose. Because the tranny was starting to slip and didn't want to deal with it. Thought we'd buy Mrs. CW an SUV, which ended up getting the green Suburban. Alright, I gotta poke around here and find my special key to remove the core. Thanks for watching. I missed Frootloops. Alright, so a few minutes later I found my control key. And I'll show you what a control key is. I got so much stuff down here. I'll never be an organized person. I'll always be a messy slob. It's just who I am. It's what I am. Junk. Piles of crap. A control key allows you to remove the core. Well, I better take some tissues. You'll see why in a second. I'm not going to cry. I got over that. A control key allows you to remove the core of the lock. And you'll see in a second outside. That's a removable core lock. I'll show you in a second. I'll show you. Yeah, so there was the Acura Legend. Just drove by. If I would have taken the camera out, all you would have seen is the taillights of this Acura buzzing down the street. Wouldn't have been very much to see. I couldn't chase the guy. There was traffic. The school was getting out on a corner. So he was zipping down the street. Gone! Oh well. What the problem is here, and I'll show you with my apartment key. Everybody uses this door, so it gets 100 uses a day. Kind of, sort of. It's sticking. Put the key in. It sticks. Doesn't turn. See that? It's supposed to turn smoothly. So you can always oil it. I'll hang my keys over here. And putting some oil in may help, but watch this. Removable core. Turn that just a few degrees. Just a tiny bit. There's the core. My problem is, I can't open the door now. I'll show you how that works in a second. Forget which way it goes now. It goes this way. My battery's going dead on my camera. I got a spare battery. Learned my lesson at Musclepalooza a couple of years ago. The guy with that flathead DeSoto beating the crap out of it, yelling at his girlfriend, just like a friggin' movie. I didn't make a video of it. Okay, now the door's open. Remove the core. Whoop. Come on. Just like that. See that? Core is locked in place. Turn it just a few degrees. Out comes the core. Now I'll go back inside the building. I'll block this open because no one's going to be able to get inside the building because there's no lock. They'll put their key in the hole. What the? I'll go sit down somewhere. I just listened to a piece on Terry Gross. It was a repeat show from the archives about the success of the Glock pistol interesting. I'm not a gun person, but it's just interesting to listen to. I'll put the camera here for a second. You can look at our Christmas decorations that are out of date. How this works is, let me put it on macro. All right, we're on macro now. How this works is when you use this service key, it won't unlock the door, but it allows you to remove the core. Now what holds that core in, I'll show you this with a pencil, is this little gizmo here. And when you turn the key, the service key, or the control key, it retracts. Of course now it's not working. Oops, sorry. Let me try this. There's a little bar that turns into the lock. It's a little sticky, which is part of the problem with the cylinder. I'm going to probably have to call the locksmith in. Oh, there's the problem. One of the little things popped out on the top. Yep. That's why it's not working. Yep, now it's retracting. So, in the basement, I have a bunch of extra ones because it used to cost, it would cost $60 to get the locksmith to come and do a service call. So I got tired of paying him $60 every month or so. So, yeah, a little spring. Supposed to be a little shell that holds it in or something, or a cap or a... Yep. I'll have to go downstairs and see if I can find the spare one. I have a couple of spare ones. That's what I gotta do. Always something, huh? I wanted to go do some wiring in that house across the street where my sister-in-law is supposed to move in. My friend's there sanding the floors. I gotta go get a mirror that's in someone's apartment. Yeah, I'm not a locksmith. I can change the locks, but I can't service them. Alright, I gotta do some repairs.